Alright, so now we're going to look at doing this cutout and adding in surfaces in there to finish out that detail. A couple different ways. Once again, it's going to project a curve up onto the surface, and then we're going to trim it, and then we'll look at modeling inside of there. So under curves, once again, we can do an edit point curve, you know, with that, or we can do a key point curve. Let me I showed this in class. Let me try to follow this because there's one little detail in here that's very important. So click on this. Remember, this starts off by drawing a straight segment. Okay, you can always click and hold on these to kind of eyeball them in. There's that part, and there's this next part, and right there. Oh, looks pretty good. All right, and when we finish, we just say pick nothing and pick object. We're out of that. Now, one thing I wanted to point out. When you do this and do this first point, let me just show up here and I click there, I can actually do strange things like that. And if I hold down my middle mouse button, I can create a curve, key point curve like that. But when you project it and then try to trim, that creates what we call a discontinuity there. It's the break in how these relate. You technically can get it here even with something like that, but at least it's closer. Okay, so be careful. Don't try to end up with a edge like this. Now, what I'm going to show you is, see how I bowed this in? Let me get rid of that, Alt L. Okay. I'm going to actually pick this, and over here, I'm going to turn on my CV and hull lines. See how all the little CVs are in these corners? That's what, makes a nice rounded shape, but technically has some issues. So, in this middle part, what I want to do is pull this down. If I grab it by key point, it moves the whole curve. But now, if I say pick nothing, pick CVs, and just grab those two CVs and say move and right mouse click, what happens is that I can sculpt it like that, get a nice shape out of it, but notice it no longer has those little blue squares or associated with it. The key point aspects have gone away. Okay? So once again, just to kind of reemphasize, there's only one real type of curve in Alias, is that NURBS curve, non-uniform rational B-spline, what that stands for. When we deal with, that's what these two right here are. You can either put them in by CV or put it by edit point, same kind of curve. Okay, the key point curve, the curve on surface, the blend curve are all just different ways of interacting with them. All right, now let's do our projection. So this time I want to pre-select the surface. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right view. Go to Surface Edit, click on this, go to Project, and it says up here select. So that initial step of selecting the surface, I forego that. Click on this and hit Project. Let's go check it out in the perspective window. There it is, nicely sculpted around there. Let's trim it. Okay, so I want to keep that part. And there's my hole. Awesome. Okay. Now, once again, I'll pick this, come up to Object Lister, and assign it to the curves layer just to get it out of the way. All right. So let me also turn off at this point the symmetry. There we go. Now, notice a couple things before we get too much further here. Some of this, when we modeled it, didn't get on the right surfaces, or right layers, I should say. So let's do that. Pick object, select the tire. We'll assign it to the bed layer. Okay, that takes care of that. And it ends up, if you have mirror geometry, you can even select it over there, and then I'll sign it, and now it turns off. So it takes care of that. All right. Now, what I want to do is put in a blend curve, and let me turn off canvases because this is all really detailed work, and I can't even see it in there. So I'll just click on the little square there to turn it off. All right. So what I'm going to do, and this is once again showing the power of what blend curves do. I'm going to create. Oops. Getting too many things here. There we go. A new blend curve. So once again, I clicked on that icon. Now I'm on new blend curve. And what I'm going to do is when I select to input this, I click right here on this edge. It then attaches itself to that edge. Okay, which I'll show you with the power of that in a second. I'm going to switch back now to my left view, And the next point, I'm going to make sure I don't click on anything, okay? Otherwise it'll associate itself. So instead I'll click out here. There we go. And just kind of come into this. And I'll go ahead and make it right about there for right now. So what's going on? Let me show you here. Once I don't click, it stays there in the middle. Otherwise, it would snap itself over here. So that's why you click. Make sure you click on open space there. I'm going to turn the jacks on, and I'm going to switch to this jack. Notice this has got red, white, or excuse me, red, blue, and green as far as the indicators. Matches the or the origin indicators. Here, when I click on it, it's relative. It's got green and black. That's because it's relative to the surface edge that I clicked on and dragged up there. Okay. Now this also has an extra little icon there. It's indicating curvature continuity. I can still click on the square and change the magnitude, basically sculpt that out. Let me pick down here, and I'm just going to kind of move this over, hopefully. There we go. Now I don't want that. I wish, well, I'll do this. I'll pop this to go straight up, and I'll click on this to kind of pull it down. Now, I can sit here and pull and pull and pull. If we look up there at the magnitude value, it's 0.0908. So let me put in 0.03. Didn't like that. Okay, well, maybe, let's see. Well, now let's just pull this in. So I'm just going to move it over. Okay, but once again, it's neat in that it has this kind of connection with the geometry, so I can easily sculpt it and create some, kind of blended shapes with it. What I'm going to do with this, okay, real quickly, see if I can get through this. So I'm going to take that that curve now and run it along this edge there. I use underneath the surfaces tab this one called rail, but I got to set it up correctly. It's 1 and 1, one generation curve, one rail. That's the generation curve in this case. That's the rail. Now it's telling me that it's got it's got something called multi-knots on. Now you want to see that little prompt line. There's the little icon right there to see the history. So this is try rebuild on for the rail. Click on that. There it is. Okay. Now let's see. Let's put it on the generation curve. See if we get any further. This is where that discontinuity happens. Okay. Let's rebuild this part too. See if we can clean it up some. Nope. Just position. Let's go off the curve. Yep. On curve. Closest. Alright, well, we'll keep it on the curve. This one, when you run into this case, you go ahead and set the first one up. So this one will set it up to have tangent right across the edge there. Okay, and then we hit next, and then we can pick this edge right there, and then build along that edge, and get to the next part. Okay, we'll do next again, and one more. This is that discontinuity that I was mentioning. Okay, voila, there we go, all the way around now. Okay, so there's the inside. Next lesson we'll come in and we'll kind of finish this out and finish out some of the details and stuff. Once again, these are all, let me pick 3 of these real quick and assign them to that layer, object layer, bed, assign, alright, pick nothing, do a quick file, save as version 7 here, okay, and then we'll look at finishing this thing out in the next lesson and adding some more detail.